Okay, so my name is Dale Rogers. Was in law enforcement 41 years. Started in 1976 and retired in 2017. So a long time. My intention was to go to a larger city area when I decided I wanted to really get into law enforcement. And I had about, 5 areas picked out, surveyed, put in some apps, or was going to put in some apps, Boise City being the first one that kind of hit the top of the ladder for me. And that's ultimately where I ended up. But way before that, how did I decide to be in law enforcement? Law enforcement for me was an ultimate goal from the time I was a little kid. I kind of changed the game plan a little bit about law enforcement because my first feeling or perspective of being in law enforcement, I wanted to be in wildlife management, fish and game officer. So I actually have a degree in that. From the time I can remember being a teenager, knowing sooner or later I was going to get out of school and need a job, my goal was to go into fish and game and be law enforcement. So having set that goal pretty early, I think some of the things that really affected my going into law enforcement was probably I came from a family that had a lot of push toward, self-sufficiency, get out and do your own thing. Growing up in the 50s, I was born in 1950, so I graduated in 1968 from high school. So during that period of time is a lot different than what we're doing now. So probably my perspective at that time was growing up, it's like any kid, you're just growing up. So what are you doing? You're goofing off. And when you're goofing off, of course, I think your parents start to take a look at it like, how much is he goofing off? How far is he getting on the left side or the wrong side of the fence versus the right side of the fence? My dad was ex-Navy. I call him a redneck. He had 9 kids. My bio mom died when I was 10. And there were 6 of us in the family then. From I was 10, my older brother was 11, I was second in that, and went down to a 1-year-old baby. And so at that time, my dad owned a body shop, repaired wrecked cars, was actually very, very good at it, had a good business. My older brother, 1 year older than me, would go down when he was 11, 12 years old and help my dad out at the shop. After my mom died, my dad kind of told me, he goes, we lived on a ranch, a small ranch, and he said, you're going to be here, cook the meals, clean the house, and do the chores. And when I come home, we'll discuss whether all that's done or not. So I kind of took over. My dad didn't remarry till 3 years later, so I was kind of like the maid, the guy that fixed the outside, do the yard, all the chores, plus we had cows we milked, all that kind of stuff. So I had a lot of responsibility going at the time, and so it kind of drove that self-sufficiency. I got to do what I got to do because I didn't want my ass kicked by my dad if I did it wrong. So one thing that kind of drove that is my dad was really good at boxing. In the Navy, he was all Navy. Wherever he was at, San Diego. Just after World War II kind of ended, he was in there. He didn't fight in the actual war, but he was there for 4 years. So when he came back, we lived in a little town, just 110 miles from Boise, Idaho, Gooding. And in that town, there's only like 4,000 people. So my school years were grade school, junior high, and high school, all one block apart, and everybody I went to school with kind of went through the same thing. Nobody ever left, it didn't seem like. And so grade school, junior high, and high school, we all were together. We all knew each other. There's like 80 people in my graduating class, not a lot. So you got to know people really well. And of course, there's always bullies in high school. My dad knew that, so he started a boxing club in our hometown. Found a building, put a bunch of boxing equipment, a boxing ring inside of it, and just invited everybody to come. I was 6 years old, and went a couple times and decided, I don't like this. I didn't like getting my butt kicked, by bigger kids. My dad had a different view on that. And so he would put me in with whoever, hopefully about my size, but not always. And so I kind of decided I didn't like that. So my dad kind of sat me down and said, hey, here's the deal. We're not going to stop. You're going to learn this. You're going to learn it well. And so, get your shit together, basically, is how he expressed it. And so I had an older brother, a younger brother, and brothers below me. We all went. And so from the time I was 6 years old till I got out of college, I boxed. And smokers, golden gloves, whatever was around at the time. So maybe half a year, 6 months after I started, when I was 6 years old, I made a pact with myself. I'm going to get really good at this because I'm tired of getting my butt kicked. And so I kind of took a different approach on it. And that approach was get good at it, which I did. And so I didn't mind boxing at all. I got as good as I could possibly get. That carried over in my life to everything I did. Sports, I didn't want to just be in sports. I wanted to be the very top of it. I knew I couldn't start there because there was people better than me. Same as police officers, same as some of the things I participated in. As a police officer, I'd get in a unit, a special unit, because I spent my whole career in special units with Boise City, 30 years. And I didn't want to just go into that unit and be there. I wanted to be the very best in that unit. And the only way I knew how was just work harder and harder and harder, figure out the angles, do them really well. I didn't need the accolades. If I did it really well, they came, and the responsibility came with it. So thus I had a really, really, really great career with Boise City. All I did was special units, and we can name a few of them as we move along. But that's kind of what drove me toward being a cop. It kind of switched because I got a degree in wildlife management, worked for the Fish and Game for a while. There was a couple of fish and game officers killed by a guy in the Owyhee Mountains. Just prior to them getting killed, the summer before, I'd worked with both of those guys, and they didn't have weapons. One of them was a retired cop and carried a weapon, but they were not issued weapons. And so when they were killed in the Owyhees by Claude Dallas, after that, the Fish and Game decided we're carrying weapons, we're going to train with weapons, we're going to, put that in the post academy, and that'll be part of the program. And it all kind of changed. So after that, that experience of working with them and seeing what happened to them, kind of changed my mind. Hey, this is fun. I like being in the mountains, but I can be in the mountains anytime because I'm a hunter and spend my spare time there. I want to dive deep into the pool. In other words, I want to go into law enforcement 100% somewhere in a bigger city. So not that I like big cities, not that I like a lot of people, but I knew the volume would be there. And that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted, the experience of working with a team, a unit. I was going to get drafted, and I broke my foot playing basketball my senior year. And so when I went to get my physical and show up for the draft, they said, no, you're wounded, go do something else. Like, go to college for a couple of years, and because you won't be able to march around, you won't do everything we need you to do. So I went to finish my degree at college, and then went and joined the police department. They took me. I could do everything. I just the military was kind of going from a draft system to a volunteer system, and the push wasn't there to bring you in. So I signed up. I actually ran a Hellspawn tennis club for 3 or 4 years. I was a manager of one in Idaho Falls, Idaho, and then I moved down here, applied with Boise City, and was hired here in 1976. So that started that career. By then, I was well into sports all the time, not trying to be at the bottom. I played at as high as I could get, through high school. Didn't do it in college. I was too busy trying to get a college degree and get out of there and get a job, which led me to the police department. So when I got on the police department, I was real big into team type stuff, where there's other people like me because I played sports, and I liked that team aspect. When I was in high school, the only thing they had was football, basketball, and track. No wrestling, no tennis, no anything else. 3 things. So I picked, actually I was going to play them all, but my dad pulled me out of football. Said he didn't want me to get my leg broke. I had too many things to do, on the ranch, and I was in boxing. And so he figured that's enough, get your head smacked a few times either way, it's going to be enough. So when I went into police work, I'd already had years and years and years of boxing skills, played sports. I liked the team concept. So it fit me perfectly for what I wanted. I always wanted to be a cop, whether it was a fish and game cop or then a real cop. Or not a real cop, but a city cop, a deputy, whatever they were. And so once I got there, it was very exciting to me. It's what I wanted to do. I felt very comfortable with it. I wasn't afraid of anything out there because I was confident in my own ability to handle problems. They had a shooting team, and that team on the department I got on, Boise City, was nationally known for their skills and shot and competed nationally, as well as all around the western states. I wanted to be part of that. So when I started, I was part of that, but it was like when I started boxing. I got my ass kicked all the time. I was the worst, probably the lowest of that bunch of people. And I rose from that in probably 11 years to the Governor's 10, which is the top 10 shooters in our state, and competed nationally and got as high as, I think, up through the ranks, 4th or 5th or somewhere in there. And I never got out of that for the next 10 years until I broke my leg training police dogs. And then that kind of curtails everything. It changes the whole perspective again. But way before that, that's how I would do it when I would get on a unit or a special unit, which is all I wanted to do on BPD. I didn't want to be in management. I wanted to do special units, whatever they were. So it started pretty typically. First thing you do is you go on patrol. And patrol was, I worked graveyard shift because that's the only seniority I had for 5 years. 5 years later, I got enough seniority to take a swing shift. So I went off graveyard onto swings. I love swings. I didn't want to work during the day. I wanted to combine the two. And that put me in that mix of everybody that was really working special units, So within a couple of years, they decided they needed a SWAT team. The SWAT team they had was maybe 5, 6, 7 guys that were pretty good at shooting and never really had a lot of SWAT training, but they relied on them to go handle these problems. So I got on that unit, and then a bunch of us, the newer guys my age, kind of did what everybody does. You get in there and the older ones start moving out. I get that. And so they got uniforms. We had old weapons, submachine guns, World War II's, submachine guns. We had revolvers. that we shot. We didn't even have automatic weapons. And so when I was on that and I got on the shooting team, I went to him and said, hey, I would like to have an automatic handgun with me when I'm on a SWAT team. Can I go to wherever they're putting on demonstrations for automatic handguns and look at them and come back and give you a report on that? And they go, yeah, send me to Seattle. Away I went. I was there for several days. Every handgun they made, they brought in there and demonstrated it. I came back, told them we should get this particular kind, and so they bought a different kind and switched, let me have an automatic weapon within a year. They switched everybody on the department over to automatic handguns. So I was one of the first guys to carry that on duty. And ultimately we were running Smith & Wessons at the time. Not what I had in mind, but I didn't run the department. I just gave them examples. So from that point on, you know, I was, myself and my partner I have in this business here, which is polygraph business, is what I do now, retired. We went to him and said, can we get canines on the department? Well, there was no canines. And they go, well, how do you do this? We'll go, well, give us some time off, whatever it takes, maybe 4 months. We'll go find these dogs in a trainer and train them and bring them back to the department and use them. And we'll foot the expense. They said, okay. So my partner and I left the department or went on leave for 4 months, went and got dogs out of the kennel, shepherds. And then we found an Air Force guy, retired, that trained dogs, and he helped us train these dogs into police dogs. And so we cross-trained those from bite dogs to drug dogs as well. So they were cross-trained, both of them. We brought them back and used them on the department for about 2 years, but the department never really bought into taking the dogs and having the dogs. I don't know why. So the liability was huge because, you know, it just is. And so we both decided we were going to get out of that business and set that liability aside. So we both sold those dogs and got out of the business. So they were out without dogs again. So during that period of time, being in law enforcement, they had different areas you could go. At the time, I was on patrol. I'd done the dog thing. One of the captains came to me and goes, hey, we're having a problem with prostitution escorts in Boise. And I go, really? I don't see any. And they go, no, look at there's a newspaper called The Nickel. And in that newspaper, they advertised their services. And he goes, look how many's in there. And there's like 16, 15, 20, I don't know, a lot. And he said, we want to pull you out patrol, put you undercover, and you'll work Vice. I go, I don't know anything about Vice. And he goes, well, you'll learn real fast. So they pulled me out of patrol, put me on Vice, and my job was to clean up prostitutes. We didn't have them walking the streets. They were kind of out of sight, out of mind in massage parlors. And you could call them on the phone and get them. So I did that about 1.5 years and cleaned up everything. There was no more advertising. It was done. And it was a million stories about that too. And huge learning experiences. So one I really remember is I had a group of guys, 3 or 4 guys, and they'd get in this room over here, and I'd get in this room and I'd call the escort or the prostitute, and she'd show up, and then I'd have a signal when I got to the point where we could arrest her. She would have to say something about, here's how much it cost, here's what I'll do for you. And somehow you had to, I don't want to say suck that out of them, but you would have to get them to admit that, say that, you know, somehow. And he got pretty smart about it. So my signal, where I'm going with that, was something about, if I said Christmas, that was the arrest signal. So she comes in, the prostitute comes in. She goes, did you call? Yeah, I called. And I mean, she's nice looking for Boise, I guess. And she comes over and goes, I go, do you want a drink or anything? And she goes, no. And all this time I'm thinking the mic's on, the undercover, it's hidden mic, and it goes over to this room. Well, these guys hadn't ever turned it on. They were over there doo-dawing around. They didn't even know a prostitute was there. So she actually ultimately takes her clothes off and lays on the bed and goes, here, come over here. Let's talk about this, or, you know, do whatever we're going to do. So I give the arrest signal. You know, you make a nice Christmas present, you know, or whatever. Nothing happens. And so, you know, you go over there and she wants you to take your shirt off and stuff. And I'm trying to, or let me order some drinks. So I'm ordering drinks and trying to stall for time. And I'm giving the arrest signal. You know, these are nice Christmas drinks. And, you know, you'd make a nice Christmas present. And I'm building saddles. I'm going to sell these saddles for Christmas. And nobody's coming. And I'm thinking, they're just screwing with me. They're just seeing how far this is going to go and what's going to happen. And then they're going to bust in here and take pictures of it. And, you know, I'm dead in the water, because now my picture's going to be all over, and I could actually do it by just nothing, just talking. So ultimately, I called him on the phone and goes, did you guys try to call me, or what are you guys doing today? Don't be coming to the motel, you know, I got some stuff I'm doing here. And they go, what? And I go, yeah, don't come to my motel room. I mean, it's not I'm celebrating Christmas here, and I don't want anybody to know about that. And then they finally dawns on them, oh crap, he's got somebody there. How long's that been going on? Which was enough time to get me completely Twitter-pated, for lack of a better term. And so anyway, they break in, make the arrest. That's kind of how that kind of stuff went over and over and over. There's always a little slip up with the vice, but it was a great learning experience for me. And as we went through that whole process, about a year and a half, 2 years later, they said, okay, good job. What do you want to do now? And I go, well, I'll go back to patrol. And they go, well, how about you go to a unit, was a repeat offender unit, because I had already working, you know, out of uniform. I don't even know what a repeat offender unit is. And they go, well, we find people that are coming out of prison. We know they're repeat offenders. We feel that they're going to repeat offend real soon, probably drugs, and we just want you guys to follow them around. Craziest thing I ever heard. So we get cars, we're undercover, we just drive around wherever these guys are. Wherever they go, we go. And within short order, they would re-offend and we would arrest them. 99% of it was because of drugs. That's what drove everything. So then I developed informants, but I would have to go over to the drug unit, which was in the same building as me, but over there, and I would have to give them that informant because it was drugs. That's what they did, and I'd go over there. And I kind of got tired of that, building these informants and working with them and then giving them away. So I said, why don't I just go to the drug unit? I don't have to give anything away. I just work in the same stuff, and repeat offenders, who cares? They're offending. We'll arrest them. It's drugs anyway. So I switched over to the drug unit, and I stayed in that unit for about 10 and a half years. During that period of time, I got another canine and trained it and brought it in as a drug dog. And so now I would work the drug dog early in my career, and I worked the drug dog about midway through my career. So and all this time I was on the SWAT team. I never got off of it. I was probably on it 22 years. Of that 30 years I was there. But everything changed. For instance, you know, you're thinking, okay, what weird stuff. And we didn't have anything in it. We didn't have a van. We didn't have a SWAT van. We didn't have anything. We put our guns in the armory in the station, and then something happened, and somebody had to go get them and bring them to you. Or you had to go get them and take them with you. So we decided to get a SWAT van. And so we bought a Parks van that said Parks, and they had like lawnmowers and shit in it. And so my dad owned a body shop, and I said, well, how about I take it and paint it like a SWAT van, black and white, and put SWAT on it, and at least it'll look like a SWAT van and not a, you know, Parks van. So this was interesting. They said, okay, go do it. How much? I said, I'll just charge you for the, not my services because I'm already getting paid, but I'll charge for just the equipment, paint, tape, whatever it takes to make it that way. So they said, okay. So I take off, go to Gooding, spend several days there, paint the van. In the meantime, I'd unloaded it, come back, load it all up, but I don't know where they want it, so I drive it to my house, put it in the garage, because now it looks like a SWAT van. It doesn't look like a park van, and it's full of guns and gas and everything you need for a SWAT team. They call me up, or I called them and said, hey, I'm all done with this. Where do you want it? And I need the money. This is how much I need. They go, we got a little problem about paying you. And I go, what do you mean problem? And, well, they decided we shouldn't use family to further our cause. And I go, we already made this decision way before I painted this thing. How's that work? Well, so we'll get you the money. Don't worry about it. Just bring the van back. And I go, no, van's in my garage. Now, you can't keep the van. You can't keep our SWAT van in your garage. I go, well, that's where it is. And if people don't pay their bills that we're trying to paint their cars, when I worked there, it was on a mechanic's lien and you didn't get it back till the bill was paid. I'm kind of going by that theory. They go, this is a police unit. You've got to bring it here. I go, well, you got to pay your bills too. We had an agreement, a handshake. That's good enough for me. So they call and said, a couple hours later, maybe half a day later, and they go, okay, we got your money, bring the van. So I drive the van down, they come out and give me the envelope full of money and said, there, now you're paid, park the van, which is pretty much what I had in mind anyway, but kind of was a area that I wasn't used to, management type things. And I wasn't in management, so sometimes I didn't get that. They had their thing, I had my thing. But anyway, it all worked out. So kind of moved on from that. I was in narcs for quite a while. Worked a lot of stuff. My partner saw a thing where we could profile packages. They did it in LA, and then you'd bring in a dog, and I had a canine, and then you sniff the packages. If you dog hit on them, you'll go get a warrant from a federal judge. Say the dog hit on this, can we open it? It'd let us open it, and every time, I think 180 hits. The dog was only missed one time, and we had 179 hits. And so we were busy all the time, going, laying out packages, sniffing the packages, hitting on one, getting a warrant, open it up, put a beeper in it, and then we would, take the whole unit and go to the place and flesh out these people. And so a lot of time spent with the dog and stuff. And then eventually they called me and said, hey, you've been in narcs a long time. And I had kind of made a rule for myself, so I wasn't really fighting it, that after 8 or 10 years, whatever special unit you was in, don't die on the vine in there. Get out of it. Go to another one. There's another one. It might start at the bottom, but that's okay. I like that. And then usually as I got better at it, I didn't always start at the bottom. And so I kind of moved around in these special units, Vice Narcotics, repeat offender, narcotics, canines, SWAT, whatever it was, I just tried to get as good as I could at it. So it was always interesting to me. It was never a bad day. It was always a good day. And some horrendous things happened out there. I was in a shooting after I came out of narcs and had a canine. I was between canines. My canine got killed in a training exercise in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Had a trainer from Switzerland come down, and through an accident of his, the dog got killed. Well, I just spent a year and a half with that dog, tons of time. So now he had to go home, get a dog, and bring it back to us. In the mix of that, I was in a shooting where the only police officer in our department's ever been killed, Mark Stahl. And I had my daughter riding with me, who was 20-some years old, that night. And I heard a call came out that said, can we get some backup here? I kind of overheard people talking something about doesn't look right or something. So I was only a block away. So I pulled in behind it. Everybody else kind of filled in after that. Ultimately, we had like 6 or 7 officers there, and kind of around the suspect vehicle. I was probably the senior officer at that time. I'd been on the department quite a few years. I was on a SWAT team, worked canines. The officers who were there told me what's going on. I told them, let's just make it a high-risk stop. They said, yeah, it sounds fine. Everybody kind of split up different ways. I was parked right behind the people that we got into shooting with. And the officer that stopped them was talking to them and telling them, you know, get out of the car, raise your hands, open your coat so we can see what's going on. The driver got out, but he wouldn't do that. He was just arguing with him. So I had actually taken my gun out. They didn't have weapons out after a while. They had put them in their holsters and were going to advance to probably put hands on this guy, although it was a high-risk stop. And I'm thinking, man, I don't know if this is where we need to be going, but I wasn't the officer, you know, the primary officer. I was just a senior officer. So anyway, I had my gun legged. The officers around me started to move up, and there was other officers around me on the side behind cover. So I knew we had officers out there, like 6 or 7 of us. And as we started to approach that car and that guy that was out, the driver, he wouldn't open his coat, wouldn't clear his waist, would clear his hands. And so I actually brought my gun up and ordered him to do it at gunpoint. And I'd moved from my car up behind his car. So I was probably just over the trunk and door from him, maybe 5 feet back from that. And I actually told him, you know, lift your coat up and so we can clear your waist. And he goes, no. He started back up, pulled out a gun. I shot a couple times. He went down out of sight. I was just shooting real quick to buy time because everybody was out away from their cars other than on one side. He went down. I couldn't see him anymore. He shot one of our officers. Actually, he shot the guy that's the chief of police in Boise City right now. And that officer went down. Gunfight started. A lot of shots because we had some officers kind of in the front. The passenger had come out, opened the door, and actually shot and killed one of our officers just on a wing and a prayer, lucky bullet type thing. Pierced his vest, went through under his arm, crossed him, cut his artery, heart arteries, and exited out in his vest. And so I then saw that this passenger was shooting, so I emptied my gun, total emptied my gun on him. And I couldn't figure out why he wasn't collapsing, why he wasn't going down, but he was stuck in the door frame. He was sitting on the ledge where the door shuts. He was sitting on it and pushed into the door. And his body was tensed up from, you know, all the adrenaline and firing. I ran out of bullets. He collapsed in and fell over because I'm not shooting him anymore. And I saw that. Then I saw the driver that I'd shot before pop up, kind of the front of the car, and he was coming toward the passenger door, which was open. And so I knew I had to reload. So by the time he got there and around the door, I had reloaded. If you had missed a reload, we all know that wouldn't have been a good thing. And so when he came around the door, he was shooting at my car or somewhere in that area. He hit my car twice. I didn't remember my daughter was even with me. And so I had reloaded. So luckily that night, for the first time, I'd put a light on my gun with a switch on it so I could have it when I got a new canine. So I'd have a light and still have my gun in my hand. So when he was shooting, there's kind of a little pause. I hit him with the light. He turned to look at me. I hit him with the light. And then I fired, took him out, took like 2 or 3 rounds to take him out. And we were 6 feet away from each other. We were very, very close. It wasn't like you could miss. And I had shot on the pistol team. I was on the Governor's 10, SWAT training for 22 years. It wasn't like I was going to miss. It was like, could I get the gun reloaded? And was everything going to work? When could he get a shot off? He didn't get a shot off at us. When I shot and he went down, it caused everybody to again start firing. I don't know what they were firing out, but something. And a bullet, a wing zipped right by me. I mean, yeah, I don't know how to explain it other than you could hear it. It was like really, really close. So I yelled it for everybody to stop, 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 you know, because both guys are down. And everybody stopped. I yelled, do we have anybody down? Any officers down? They go, yes, we have 2 down. One of them was the current chief of police now. He had got shot through the hip. And the other one was the officer that got killed. He had got shot in through the vest, clear through. So I said, go to him, you know, take care of him. Call, you know, put out the call for 911 or for ambulance care. They'll get there, do their thing. Instantly, they scoop us all up once they tape the perimeter, and they move us all out of there, take us to motels till we get interviewed, take our weapons, whatever they do. That's detective stuff, you know. They check it all out, make sure everything's legit. They did all of that. That went on, and ultimately behind that, but years later, maybe 8 years later, 9 years later, 7 years, I don't know. I got a Medal of Valor for that, and I got a Medal of Honor from the state of Idaho. They have a legislative board that picks somebody to give Medal of Honor to in Idaho every year for police work, fire work, whatever, medical stuff. So I received that. So in my career, I had a couple police stars for police work, Valor, police Valor, a Medal of Valor, and a Medal of Honor. None of them I thought I deserved any more than anybody else. I'm not that type of person. I mean, they came to me and wanted to give them to me. I didn't even go to the Medal of Honor. I already had a vacation planned with my wife and family members. They called and said, hey, you need to be here next month. We're doing this. And I go, I've already paid for a trip out of country. You don't get that money back. And everybody's planning on it. I didn't know this was coming. Nobody told me. And they go, no, we kind of keep it secret till, you know, till we give it. But maybe you can postpone that and come. And I go, nah, I'll send somebody to pick up my Medal of Honor. So I sent my friend that I was working for in Boise County. He was the sheriff at the time, to go pick it up for me. And that's how I got it. And so I didn't even go to the ceremony. But I'm okay with that. I don't care about that. My feeling has always been, go and do what you do it very, very well. You'll get the accolades. The accolades come, not that you need them. But you don't have to tell anybody anything. They're going to go, oh, that was interesting, or that was good, or that was worth the medal, or whatever. I've always been that way. I'll just do what it needs to be done, and if you get the accolades, you get them. If you don't, you don't. Doesn't matter. 10 years from now, 15 years from now, where I'm at now, nobody even knows who I am. If I didn't have a picture on the wall in the police station, I'd be no different than anybody else, no matter what I did. So when I'm doing it, that's when it matters, not now. My family, you know, eventually they'll put up a picture and say, I think he did something like this. He wrote a book. Let's check the book. You know, so I've actually wrote 2 books now. One of them is Imminent Danger. I just came up with that name because everything out there seemed like it was imminent danger. So very interesting story about that is the same guy that I went to work for in Boise County, a small sheriff's agency after I retired for a year, was my sergeant on BPD. And we had canines for the first time, and we went into the briefing. That night in briefing, he tells me and 20 other officers in there, he goes, Dale, you and Chip, your partner, let's go meet at this restaurant. We don't have any canine rules or policy. Let's write it down. Let's get policy before these dogs get us all in trouble. Okay, what can I do? Well, I'll tell you what you can't do. Don't crash your car. Don't let your dog bite anybody. Don't shoot at anybody. Don't hit anybody. Don't let the dog bite anybody. You know, he had a little list of things. So we're leaving. We're driving down the road. A call comes out. He's not there. I'm out there with my partner, and a guy with a gun is shooting up in the neighborhood and running through the neighborhood. I'm a block away. So I turn, go in there. Sure as crap, here's a truck with a camper shell on it sitting in the middle of the road. Here comes a guy running out of a backyard with a shotgun or rifle of some sort, jumps in the truck, and I turn the lights on to get him stopped. He takes off. We're now in a pursuit. Rule number 1, don't be in a pursuit. We get in a pursuit. I pass him because he goes really wide on a corner, and I get in front of him. He stops. I go down half the block and stop. He decides he's going to go by me, so he comes down and rams my car, wrecks my car, knocks it in a ditch. Well, also stops his car. I get out of my car, turn the canine out. I walk up behind the truck with my gun out, ordering him to get out of the truck. I can't see him because there's a camper on it, and I kind of move to the left, and he jams the gun out the window, pointing it at me. I jump back and fire around before he gets me. It goes through the camper and lodges between the camper and his head. He takes off. I shoot the tires out. So now I've been in pursuit, wrecked my truck, shot my gun, and now I'm chasing him on foot. I don't know what I think I'm going to do on foot. He's easy in the truck, but his tires are flat. So he's only going like 5 miles an hour. So we go down, turn on a road. I'm staying with him, turns on an alley. I go on the alley, and I can now see him looking in the mirror. He's looking, and the brake lights come on, and I can see he puts it in reverse. He's going to try to run into me. And there's a carport there with firewood in it, like a cord. So I run in there and jump up on the cord. He backs in there and slams into the cord of firewood, knocks some of it down. I jump down, open the door, grab him. He's trying to get, his truck had died. He's trying to get it started. I'm trying to keep him from driving away. My partner opens the door, my canine jumps in and bites him. So now we've had a canine bite as well. And it can't break his hands loose. So we finally wrestle him around and smack him, and he falls out. He has a .45 loaded and locked in his pants, plus the shotgun's there that he shoved out the window. And we get him all hooked up, and so we're done. We're waiting for transport, and the sergeant shows up, and he goes, "Where's your car?" I go, "Well, it's wrecked. It's over in that ditch. It's a brand new canine car." "Oh, how to get there?" "Well, we're in a pursuit, and I got in front of him, and he rammed me and knocked me in there." "Well, why is there a bullet hole in there?" "Because he stuck that shotgun out the window, and I thought he was going to shoot me, so I shot through there." And he goes, "Well, none of these you were supposed to do." And I go, "I know, but it was kind of like 1, 2, 3. I didn't have time to erase anything." And he goes, "Well, how'd he get clear over here?" And he goes, "Well, he drove over here." "How'd you get over here?" "Well, I just ran behind him." "You ran like behind him while he's driving?" "Yeah." And then what happened right there? Well, he tried to drive over me and slammed into that cord of wood, so I jumped over there and grabbed him and wrestled him out and hooked him up, and we had to hit him to knock him loose from the steering wheel. Oh my God. So all those things I told you not to do, did you do all of them? Yeah. I thought we could kind of write that into the canine policy. And if you need to do those are all available to you. Whatever. So the policy started to get written right then, but we finished it up, but it was another one of those, what do you do? It's push, pull, click, click. It's happening right there, and you're either in it or you're out of it. You're either going to get shot or you're not. Somebody's going to get hurt, or you just do what police do, You don't need excess force. You just need to use the force to get him stopped, get the weapons away from him before he kills you or somebody else. With his vehicle or with his guns or whatever. The guy had lost it. He was mentally lost it somewhere. He died like 2 months later of aneurysm or something. But who knows? You don't know that night. You're just clicking off the boxes as you go along.
So Dale, you said about a year after you retired from Boise PD, you started work from Boise County. Can you talk about that?
Yep. So I retired. I ran a polygraph business because I went into polygraphs after I broke my leg training dogs. And I was in polygraphs for, 5 years probably, into my career. And then when I retired, my friend, who was the sergeant I was just telling you about, was the sheriff at Boise County Sheriff's Office, which is the county that butts up to Ada County, just outside of Boise. And I was having lunch with him one day, and he was telling me that he was losing detectives or deputies to other agencies because he couldn't pay them well enough. You know, they were going to bigger agencies, and that makes sense. So he said, but I don't really have any training here to speak of. You've been in all these special units. Can you come up and work with me, help me? And I go, yeah, that'd be fun. And start some of these special units, get them going. I need canines. I need detectives. I need sex crimes. I need a SWAT team. Quick response team. I need different firearms. I need firearms training. I need all of that stuff to keep these guys and, you know, build this whole department. And I go, sure. So I went up there, started doing that. And a year into that, he left. And so they came and said, here's undersheriff stuff. You can be the undersheriff, or you can just get sworn in as a sheriff. My retirement rules kind of dictated for me, I just stay where I'm at because I have to leave every year for a month, completely separated. And if I'm going to help, I need the ability to come back no matter who's sheriff. And so I went and found a deputy that I thought would do a really good job and asked him if he would put his name in to be the sheriff, and I would do the undersheriff work. He said, yeah, he got elected. So for the next 10 years, I ran under him. Training-wise, they needed everything. So all the stuff I just mentioned, started firearms training, the tactical SWAT type training. We talked about getting canines and worked on getting canines. We got different vehicles, better, more modern vehicles. They had no long guns, and we're working in a county that's 2,200 square miles with very few people. And to get anywhere, your handgun's out of the loop. As you know, 50, 70 yards, you're out of the loop. You needed long guns, so I invested in, I spent tons of time because I'd been in narcs, that's how I met you, doing outdoor grows. Millions of dollars worth of outdoor grows were pulled out of there thanks to you guys helping us. Way bigger than I expected, and it was just in the county. They would, Mexican Cartel would send people in, and they would set up these huge grows. I mean, probably millions of dollars worth of grows, money, volume. And I'd come to you guys and say, hey, we can't get all this out of here. Can you help? We need helicopters. We need transports. We need trucks. We need whoever to get all this stuff out. Luckily, for 8 or 9 years, with your help, we moved copious amounts of drugs out of that county and took people down for it. And so all of that training that I had in special units in a big city, which they put me through, I had it. So rather than try to send our guys to it with no budget, I would do the training. So they got the training, maybe not the best, it was me, and I had my own, you know, little quirks probably. And but I had done a lot of training as well. I had actually trained for drug classes around the United States for FLETC for 5 years with my partner. We would go to small agencies. They would put in a grant through the government for training, and then they would take our cadre of people and ship us all the United States. We would train them for a week or 2 weeks, and then how to do it, and then we'd leave, come back, do our thing, and then hook in and on another training thing.
Did you find any difference between the quality of work or the type of work that you were doing in a large city like Boise as opposed to the small towns that you were then working in?
No. So I shouldn't say no. So in a big city, you have some money, you have people, the unit, drug unit, and you're constantly hooked into the sheriff's unit or DEA, no matter what. Especially the bigger it got, the more you had it, okay? In the little town, little area, I'd find this stuff, then I'd have to go find you, DEA usually, because we were the sheriff's unit, and the city couldn't send people. So we would go to DEA and say, hey, can you help us? I need helicopters, I need transports, I need, sling this material out of here. It's mountains, it's all mountains. So the difference was we relied on people a lot, which was good. I don't have a problem with that, and nobody else seemed to either. The money was outside of us. It was with other people that could afford these stuff, the government, basically. In the city, it was more of a little more competition. Who's going to run the show? We found it. DEA comes in with all the stuff. Well, they got their own way of running business. They want to run the show. Sheriff's office, they're the law enforcement governing agency in your county. They jump in. They kind of want to run the show. So it was a little bit of battle between managers and the chief of police, sheriff, and DEA. Who's going to run it? Not to where I cared. I didn't care. Who's ever going to do it? Let's do it. Let's go, But they would work it all out. And I don't think the difference was it wasn't right in your face and available. You had to go really work at it, getting it in the county.
But in terms of, say, the difference between working homicides in big cities, small cities, I'm assuming that you still had homicides and major crimes.
Oh, yeah. Yep. No. The difference is on those little agencies like that, they don't have budget to train like the big cities do. So a homicide, and you got 7, 8, 10 guys that work there, probably 5 of them are fairly new till they get some time on where they can now rotate out or transfer to a bigger agency, better pay. So you're always fighting that battle of having somebody well trained to lead the battle. Fortunately for me, I was in special units. That's all I did. So every time a drug thing came down, I'd been in that unit. Sex crimes came down. I'd already in a special victims unit for sex crimes, child abuse, adult crimes. I was in that unit. So I would work those cases and help somebody learn that skill. But you're always on that training curve. You never have that really well-trained, balanced area where I just hand you the stuff and go, it's yours. Get out of my face, go do this. Take care of it. You actually grab that guy by the arm and say, hey, come with me. I want to teach you how to do this because I'm not going to be here very long. And those guys were hard workers. One time I kind of got in a little pissing contest with somebody. One of the officers got fired. I don't care where you're at. Somebody's going to make some mistakes. Got fired for something. And one of the other agency deputies or people made a remark, in an email or something that you get what you pay for. And it bummed me out because I'd have been in both places and I hired a bunch of these people. Mistakes are made. There's no doubt about it. People are human. But it doesn't mean the rest of them are bad because they get low pay. Didn't mean anything like that. Some of these officers left and were now in management in large agencies. They had the skills. They just needed the time on and the training. And so that's what I saw was you didn't have that just handed to you like you did in a big agency. Like I'm coming up, there's already people already well trained in front of me. All I got to do is rely on that. Small agency, not so much unless someone slipped in the groove like I did where you could get that training. So I did tons of training on all aspects, sex crimes, drugs, firearms, SWAT, canines, all the units I was in, because I'd already done it.
Do you have any unique stories or things that happened while you were working with the sheriff's department that you would have never seen in Boise PD?
Yeah. So what I found in that area was that county was 2,200 square miles, but there wasn't a lot of people in it. very minor amount of people. So in the areas where they're, let's say, 100 miles from the sheriff's office, but there, and something going on, they took care of their own stuff. And you kind of learned about it after the fact. Old saying, yeah, you don't want to do that here because these people will fix that problem. They did that. Plus, in a county area where somebody comes in and gets in a car wreck or doesn't arrive home or causing a problem, there's not Johnny on the spot where you're 3 minutes away or a minute away and 6 people. We ran deputies by themselves. So we would go to these calls that are extremely dangerous, like home invasions, burglaries, people shooting at each other, and one deputy, until we could get another one there, which could be not at all, or maybe half hour to an hour or 2 hours. You know, by then, if you're there doing something, it's too late anyway. So you had to learn how to maneuver your way through that problem without serious conflict with somebody, because you were your own backup. If you didn't have the skills and the equipment to handle it, you might need to wait till somebody got there, which was totally different than the city.
So, throughout your career, whether it was with Boise PD and then later on with the Sheriff's Department, did you ever, I guess from the beginning of your starting your law enforcement career till now, did your views on dealing with people or society change, and how did law enforcement kind of affect you and your family life, or did it?
Well, I will say it affected it. You know, when I went in, young, full of vinegar, you know, put everything I had into police work, probably to the demise of my my spouse said first. I was a product of divorce because my interest was not when I got married, but you know, after I shifted and moved to police work. Everything I was doing, I was trying to get better at it, which took tons of time and effort and extra stuff. And so I kind of truthfully didn't pay attention to the back half family and ended up in a divorce. Went through several years, remarried, but I married somebody, but I was already a cop and I already knew that, having experienced it, which was, you know, the statistics is pretty high for that, as we know. So I paid real close attention and didn't lose out on the back half and family and wife and stuff. I made them a priority too. And what was a 9-year marriage first time out turned now is a 43-year marriage. Huge difference. So yeah, it affects you. The things that happen affect you too. I don't know how it affects everybody because I only can speak for myself, but I don't look for the accolades. I look to do a really good job, and what comes, comes. And other people, a lot of people, some people, they want to be told they're good at that, or you're going to be okay, or whatever. That was never in my bag of tricks. I didn't care.
How about the views of society, though, and how you view people in general?
So in a big town, I think the volume of people causes different perspectives, because you have thousands of people who don't like you. You have probably 4,000 or 5,000 that do like you, okay? But you hear this vocal amount over here. You know, defund the police, get rid of the police, the police are bad, or don't trust the police, or whatever. Not like the majority of people. You go to a county area, other than the criminals, everybody loves you because they've had to fend for themselves and they know what that takes and they want you to help them. When they call you, you pretty much know you're going to be needed there. Not a lot of barking dog calls. That dog won't bark more than a couple of times. You know, they'll take care of that. That doesn't happen in the city, okay? Or trespassing, you know, that doesn't happen much. I remember first call I got when I went to the county was totally different than the city. I've been in shootings, I've been in a lot of stuff. We got a call, this guy was shooting at his neighbor. We go there, we talk to the neighbor, and we go, and the guy lives a quarter mile down the road, and it's fenced, it's gated. We meet him by the gate, the one who got shot at. And he go, what's the deal? And he goes, well, I need to go talk to him. He's bugging me about something, and he shot at me. Okay, well, he doesn't want to talk to you today, so you probably need to go home. And then I'm thinking, okay, now we'll go talk to this guy. Well, we get in the car and we drive off, and I go, whoa, dude, aren't we going to talk to him? No. Well, he just shot the guy. Well, he didn't hit him. So, okay, does that matter out here? Is that different? He goes, no, it's not different. It's just we don't need him shooting at us. So let's wait a few days, a few weeks. This guy will stay out of the way, and we'll handle that on a different perspective. In the city, that is how you do it. Everybody rushes there. If a bad guy, everybody more rushes there. You know, so you got a mob, a swarming mess of cops trying to help fix the problem. Not so much in the county.
Over the time in law enforcement, have you noticed any change that maybe made policing harder or easier, or are there any changes in society that you've noticed?
Well, only since I've got out of it. And I noticed the push is defund the police, don't trust the police. I'm shocked myself. If you'd have told me back when I was doing my first 30 years that the FBI might go south at the top and be politicized, I'd go, dude, you're conspiracy. You got conspiracy problems, you know. Take a chill pill, read a book, be nice. Everybody will get along fine. I don't know if I have that same opinion anymore. You know, the police work didn't change. A robber's a robber, and a victim of domestic violence, a victim is domestic violence. They do the same things. Sex crimes are sex crimes. Bank robberies are bank robberies, no matter where they are. It's the perspective that you go into and how you handle it with backup or no backup, or investigations on your own versus 7 guys that do the same thing in the same office with you that you could walk over there anytime and say, let me run this by you. You don't do that, particularly in the county. You're a one-man band, and your skill's your skill. My feeling was, I'll be the best at that I can be, and I'll carry that over and hopefully can get these people, if I'm training them, which was why I was there anyway, to do the same thing. So mine wasn't, are you better trained? It's, can we get you trained? Better only comes to me with your own attitude. You can be the best if you want to not say, well, I can't solve this crime, or I'm not a good shot, or we need to go call the county or the state to do a SWAT run. We're cops. We should do the SWAT run, okay? I was on that for 22 years. I can tell you how to do it and get us the equipment. Why would we call somebody to do the exact same job we should do? That's the interesting, fun part of the job. I'm not giving that up. And furthermore, it's embarrassing. You're saying they're smarter or better than you are just because they come from a large agency? Well, for the moment, well, then let's fix that. Nobody was smart when they started. I'll guarantee you, every one of those SWAT guys, unless they had military training, were not SWAT guys in high school or college. So they weren't good when they stepped into that SWAT thing. They had a heart to be in it. Do you have the heart to be in this and be the best? So the craziest thing that ever happened was I hired a guy right after my sheriff said, hey, I'm out of here. I'm not going to do this anymore, but hire this guy. Well, who is he? Does he need polygraph? Do we need to vet him out? And he goes, I already vetted him. He was a ranger in the military. I looked at his DD-214, his military stuff, He's got all kinds of accolades. It's been injured, Purple Heart, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Should we run the same system? Not just hire him. So I hire him. Go out on the range. I wasn't in the military. I joined the police department, but I'd been in these special units. He was the worst shot of everybody. He couldn't even break down his own gun. He had one of my guys show him how to break down the rifle, M4, so he could clean it. And I'm thinking, something's not right here. You know, so I go and take his DD-214. I went down to the recruiting station. I said, can you look at this? What's wrong with this? Why am I have this feeling? They looked at it and they took a red pen and came back in about half hour. Looked like it was bleeding. Whatever they had marked, they go, this isn't right, this isn't right, this isn't right, this is made up. I go, can you validate that? And they go, sure. They called down to their, like Salt Lake or wherever, and about a half hour later, they called back and said, no, he came here and he was in boot camp for 5 weeks and then he quit. They outed him. So all of this is made up. He was Purple Hearts, 2 Purple Hearts. Once he got hit with a machete in his arm, he said, and once he was shot. And Medal of Valors, you know, all kinds of stuff, and impressive. And so we were up on actually it was with you guys. We were doing a grow up on top by our lookout in our county. And he and I are waiting because we got there a little late and we were waiting for the helicopter to come back. And so I told him, I said, so something's bugging me. You got to tell me what's going on here. Your military stuff is pretty impressive, but you're the shittiest shot I've ever seen in my life. What's with that? Well, I wasn't trained in firearms. I was trained in hand-to-hand combat with a knife. And I'm thinking, oh, that's a red flag. That's bullshit. Everybody has handguns. You know, you'd have been trained well in that too. I said, so what about this other stuff? And he goes, well, you know, you shouldn't be questioning this kind of stuff. I'm, you know, a veteran and you don't know what you're talking about and whatever. I said, so you're trained in knife fighting? Yeah. Here's a stick. Stab me with it. I'm not stabbing you with it. He tried to stab me with it. I took him down, took it away from him. Literally put a sleeper hold on him, took him down and took the knife stick away from him. And I'm thinking he didn't train in anything. So that's when I went and had it all checked out. I pulled him back in and said, what's the deal with this? You're lying about this. This is made up. This is all false. He goes, no, it's not. I said, you were wounded, right? Yeah. What happened? Well, I got hit with a machete in the arm. Where at? Right here. I don't see a scar or anything. Well, it healed up really good. You got shot? Yeah. Where'd you get shot? In the stomach in Somalia. Well, let me see the wound, because I know they didn't do plastic surgery on your stomach. He's going to have a scar there if he got shot, probably one where they opened up, cleaned it out and everything else, not just a little bullet hole. He goes, no, I'm not doing that. And I go, no, I'm not asking you, or I'm telling you, either do it or you're fired. So he pulls up his shirt, looked like a baby's butt. He's a little paunchy, no, nothing. I mean, he was lying, just flat ass lying. So stuff happens like that. You have to be really careful. But my feeling of the people we hired and vetted were every bit as good as anywhere else. They were just used to a slower pace, county versus big city of thousands of people. It would have been totally different now for me, because when I came in, it was 83,000 people. Now there's 500,000 that float through the area. It would have, I can only imagine, you know. What was a shooting every couple of years would have been one every week probably.
Well, Dale, I really appreciate you talking with me, and thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Not a problem.